everybody. Okay, we're doing a live on past lives. Okay, let me just write this down. Hi guys, how to connect to past lives. Hey everybody, just writing this here. Hi, past lives. We're talking about past lives. Okay, I pin comment. There we go. All right, hey everybody. All right, past lives. Hi, my friends. Hey, welcome. Okay, I'm going on like a I don't know, like a IG live binge for the next few days where we're just gonna talk about woo-woo metaphysical stuff, which is like my favorite things to talk about. So I'm so happy to be here with you and thank you for joining me. So drop in your comments about what you want to know about past lives, like what confuses you, what you do know, any cool experiences with past lives. Just kind of give me like where you're at, okay? Will you save this live? Yes, Caitlin, I will save the live for sure. So if you guys can't, if you're just jumping in, you can't stay. It'll be on my Instagram, IGTV. It'll be there. And as soon as I'm done, this should probably be about 20, 30 minutes. Okay. So past lives. I remember learning about past lives like way before I got into this work. Most of you might know that I was an editor for many years, and I came across past lives, metaphorical and literal, like needed a past life regression. I know basically nothing. Okay, great. So somebody introduced to me Brian Weiss's work, which is he's probably like the most known for past lives. It's, many lives, many masters. And I'm sure some of you have read that book. But it wasn't that book that stood out to me. He had this other one called, I think it was like Only Love is Real or something like that. And it was like the story about these different soulmates that had lived like many lives together throughout other lifetimes and kind of like that relationship. And when I read that, I was like, yes, like this makes total sense, because like sometimes you just meet people and you're like, I know this person. I have like lived a lifetime, like not that you know that you've lived a lifetime with them, but there's just sometimes you just meet people, whether it's like a friend or even if you have like a relationship like in your family, like with your mother or your brother, and you're just like, that's my people. Or I hate this person. I don't understand why it's so hard with this person. And that is usually because of a past life connection. So I find like some people have like obsessions with different eras or different areas. So like I have this one friend who like it's so connected to the Titanic, like the story of the Titanic. So we always joke, we're like, maybe you lived in the Titanic, like maybe you were part of that lifetime or something. So those kind of things that we have these like weird obsessions over these eras or these people, those are usually past life connections. Woo woo co. I love Journey of Souls. I guess my question is, what can we can we do past life regressions on ourselves? Absolutely. So we're going to talk about that today. Okay. So, thank you, Sally. Only Love is Real. Yes, by Brian Weiss. That's the book. Looking to understand past lives, metaphorically, like we need to let go of the past versus taking it a step further where you do a regression. Okay. So, past lives is basically the concept that when we die, our soul continues and it lives other lifetimes. If you want to go really into it, they say that we can even live other lifetimes in other planets and other realms and all those things. But today we're just going to talk about other lifetimes on Earth. And that, our souls have lived many times doing this thing called like being human, because human is like the experiment, right? Like it's like we come in here, we work on like learning certain lessons and things like that, and that's the reason that we're here. But sometimes I have seen some souls like be trying to learn the same lesson over and over again. I've had some readings and I'm like, okay, we got to get this right this time, because if not, you're going to come back in another lifetime and you're going to be doing the same shit. So let's make sure that we get it right. And sometimes I see some souls, some clients that have lived for many lifetimes, right? Like they're very old souls. They've been doing this for like a really long time. And then there's some that like haven't had too many lifetimes or a little younger. So that's how we know what an old soul is versus a young soul, depending on how many lifetimes they've had. So that's one of the ways that we can tell that. But anyways, the point is the reason why like past lives are important, I mean, other than being like really interesting and fascinating, this idea that like we've lived other lifetimes, in addition to that, what's important is that a lot of the times something that happened in a past life will affect this lifetime. So meaning that you may be hitting your head up against the wall with money, and you've done all the things, like you've studied all the stuff, you've said all the mantras, like whatever, but for some reason, like you can't get past this hump or whatever. If you do a past life regression or a past life healing, you may find that, you lived in poverty and for many lifetimes, and you have to understand this in order for it to not happen this lifetime. So that's why sometimes, you guys, it's not your fault. I always say, like, I'll do readings sometimes and I'll be like, this thing that's happening is not your fault. This is a past life situation. And when the person hears the past life situation, they're like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. So sometimes like that's the truth. So whenever I'm having like a little, like, I'm like, man, like I cannot get past this thing, I'll go and I'll meditate and I'll bring myself into a past life, and it's usually very eye-opening. You can definitely do past lives on yourself. You don't need to like go to somebody. We teach past lives in Soul Leader. If you guys want to join, I'd love to have you. It's a meditation. So there's different ways to do past lives. One, you can just do a past life regression, which is something that I learned when I was studying hypnotherapy, because hypnotherapists do past life regressions. And the past life regressions are cool because you get to like go with the therapist and you get to experience the past life. Basically, they're going to kind of journey you there. The only thing about past life regressions that I don't love is that you don't have control over what past life comes up. So it's kind of like a surprise egg. You go there and you're like, okay, like whatever past life is supposed to be shown to me, like it will show. And the regression takes you there. Now, if you are going in and looking for a specific past life, so like you're saying like, man, this guy that I've been dating just feels like there's something there, like I'm supposed to, kind of understand this deeper, and you want to go in specifically looking for the relationship between that person, you need to be more specific, and you want somebody who can go into the Akashic records, which is how we do it in Soul Leader. So you go into the Akashic records and you specifically ask for that lifetime. When I discovered that, I was like, oh, because I only had regression at the time. Like I only knew how to do past life regressions because that's what I studied as a hypnotherapist. And it was just kind of like hit or miss, like whatever would come up. But then once we got into the Akashic records, when I studied in my shaman studies, then I could be specific. So cool things about the Akashic records is you can do it yourself. Like I said, we teach that in Soul Leader, but you can also go to somebody to do it for you, right? Like, so I do them, some of our soul teachers do them. So if you guys are interested, but the cool thing is that, some of us can actually journey there, like some of us will be able to like get into that meditative state. Like the person will guide you into that meditative state so you can see the past life. Some of my clients like don't have any interest in that. And the visual part like doesn't work. So a lot of times you don't have to go for the journey. You can just have somebody bring back the information to you. I like to journey people because, and I like people to journey themselves there because you get to experience it, and then I just think it like hits you more. But if you don't want to go there, you can always have somebody give you the information. You just have to trust the person who's giving you the information, and it's going to have to feel like relevant to you. Like it's going to have to like hit you. So when I do readings and the person doesn't necessarily, I don't have time to take them there. I'm just giving them the information because I can pick up the information. What's funny is that once you share a past life with somebody, and they resonate with it, like that itself is very healing. Like that itself removes the block from like whatever block you may have when it comes to that life. So I find that fascinating. Like I remember, I had this one client who was very religious, didn't really like believe in past lives, but it was very important. It was super important how the past life affected her current life and her marriage. And when I gave her the information, it was just so healing for her. Like she was just like that. It sounds exactly like what's happening in this current relationship. That makes so much sense. And she was able to let it go. I also you can process a healing while you're there in the past life. But the information itself is very healing. Now, when you experience it, also super healing because you're like, you see it, you feel like you're there. It's almost like virtual reality. And then you take that information back to this lifetime. So that's why they're really important. And sometimes you guys, if you're doing like cards and somebody's pulling cards for you and past life stuff is coming up. Like I used to get these past lives cards all the time, and I didn't have that gift yet, or I wasn't super interested in that. And maybe like a year and a half later or 2 years later, I finally go to this energy healer who does this past life on me, and I was like, and it just shifted me so much that I was like, why was I waiting so long for this? Like, why did I put this off for so long? So if past lives keeps coming up for you, like I highly recommend. I do recommend for you to learn how to do it yourself so that you can do it for yourself when you need to, because sometimes there's a lot of like past life stuff that is there for us. Okay, does that make sense, guys? So questions. I'm gonna look for questions here. Okay, so question here is, how do I know like if I need to take a step further and like actually so how do I know if I actually need to go and do the healing for a past life? I would say that when you feel that you have tried all the like self-helpy personal development stuff on a topic in your life, so like again, you guys, career, money, dating, like all those topics that show up in our lives. Like if you feel like, man, I've read the books, I've done the things, I've done the work, but I keep like experiencing, life keeps bringing me the same experience, that's when I would be like, okay, maybe there's like something deeper, and that's when it's time. Okay, let's see what other questions we have here. Has anybody ever done a past life? Physical trauma, and can it be transferred over? Yes. So I have had personal experience with that. I have a few, so I'm trying to think of like which ones to share with you guys. I have arthritis. I was diagnosed with arthritis at 3 years old in my right knee. I forget because I don't like have it anymore. And, I was always working towards like healing that. And like one day I was like, okay, I did this regression. I did the past life thing. And like my leg was chopped off in a lifetime. By the way, past lives, usually we were they're actually very graphic most of the time. So you have to go in there like prepared sometimes, because some of it is like we killed each other a lot. We cut off our heads a lot. We did all sorts of, we were very animalistic back. If you think we're bad now, we were like way worse back then. So I remember seeing that. Another one I found interesting once was, I had this pain on my left shoulder. And when I did this past life, it had to do with this like person in my life who left me, and who left me in this lifetime too. And in that lifetime, we had this job where we had to like go to a river, grab water, and like put it on our shoulder and like come back. We were like carrying, that was like our job. We would go back and forth carrying something. And when that person left me in that lifetime, I was stuck like doing their work also. So I had the weight on my left shoulder. It was fascinating. And then, once I understood that, I processed the healing. a few days later, like the pain started going away. It was nothing chronic, but that was interesting. All right, what else, guys? Hi, Elaine. Oh, I waved at you. I didn't mean to, but hi. Okay, let's see where else. Okay. Hi. All right. Has anybody... Okay, here we go. I did a past life regression a few months after our first session. It was very healing. I was a rural farmer who held extreme regret in living a societal norms in that time period. Beautiful. How do you know past lives are real? So Alexis, I like, even when I do readings, I see the past lives. I always tell the person, like, listen, I get it. Not everybody believes in past lives. I know it's a hard thing to get around. So I'm just going to share this with you, and like, you take it how you want. I think that Alexis, like, you know, I do think you have to like experience the regression. And once you experience it, that's why I always invite people to do it, to like, you know, to get it done, to try it yourself. Because once you experience it, like, it's just, when you do these guided meditations, which we do in Soul Leader and Soul Seeker, and I always get the same questions. You know, people are like, oh, I saw this spirit guide, or I saw this past life. Like, am I making it up? I always get that same question. But we have this like funny thing going on in the Soul Leader group that we always say, like, you just can't make that up, because when you do this, like, you'll see there's so many details sometimes, and there's just so much information that, like, I mean, how, even that story I told you about, like, the left shoulder thing, like, it's like, man, my brain has to work really, really fast to make such a creative story. So at some point when you actually experience the past lives, and you see kind of how detailed it is and how much information you get, you know, at some point you have to ask yourself, like, I mean, am I really that creative, or is that coming from somewhere else? So that everybody in the group has learned that we're just not that creative all the time, so much that we're pulling all this like quick information so much. So we do have to start to trust that information. And, you know, and I think the other thing too is that if it's helping you, like, what does it really matter? You know, like, we really have to let ourselves go down the path of what helps us. You know, like, everybody's journey is different. So if that makes sense to me and that works for me, like, why am I even going to spend time doubting it? Okay. So, and you'll see, like, when I like read something about past lives for the first time, I was like, yes, like, this makes so much sense. You guys can also try, like, if you're hesitant and you're not really like sure if you want to take the class, or if you want to do a past life with somebody, so you can, this is how I started. I was like still a magazine editor at this time. I had no idea I was going to do this work. It was like over 10 years ago. And I read somewhere that, like, you can write like a little note to like your spirit guide and put it under your pillow, kind of like you're writing to the tooth fairy. And I asked to see a past life. And I don't know if it was that night or a few nights later, but I had this very, very vivid dream that I was like flying into these like different past lives, and they made a lot of sense for me. So you can also you have nothing to lose. You know, it doesn't mean that if it doesn't happen, it's not real, but go ahead and like set the intention before you go to sleep, and let that, you know, let's see what shows up. You have nothing to lose. Okay. I had an oracle card come up in a spread about past lives, and it stuck with me, especially that it came up while reading Journey of Souls. Definitely could use it regarding dating. For sure, Joanna, like, I love that. Yeah, you know, those are the kind of things that, like, we have to start to like listen to our intuition, and at the end of the day, like, who's the police that is going to tell you that this is wrong, or that you're doing it wrong, or whatever? Like, just go down the rabbit hole. Like, just go down where you're being called to. Like, be curious, and experiment, especially when all these things are starting to come together. It's like I'm reading Journey of Souls and then this card. It's because your consciousness is starting to open up more and your awareness is starting to open up more. So your divine guidance who's with you, your spirit guides, your past loved ones, whatever they're with you, they're able to get through to you more because your that brain that's been like keeping the crown chakra closed because it's like so set on, I'm human and I live here and this is how things work. As that starts to soften and open up based on whatever you're studying, when you read those books, when you do the cards, all that kind of stuff, you start to like soften that and your connection gets louder, then the divine guidance is able to get through to you. All that's between us and divine guidance is our set mindset, our fixed little brains that don't want to expand. So that is a perfect story, Joanna. You should definitely join Soul Leader, Joanna. Kelsey, do you do past life regressions or have practitioners you... Yeah, I do them. They're not like my super favorite thing. I usually do them tied to a reading. But Kelsey, if you DM me, I'll send you a few people that I like. Yeah, you're welcome, Alexis. Queen Nikki, what is the key to reaping the benefits of manifestation? What is the key to reaping the benefits of manifestation? How do I want to answer that? I mean, so I feel like what I'm understanding from the question is you're saying like, so once you've manifested and you have this manifestation, like how do you like actually manifest? Can you maybe say the question again so I can understand it? I know I will. I didn't feel ready for it before. Oh, well, you're ready for it. Yes. Nikki. I like your name. And you spell it nice. And hi, other Nikki. Okay. So what else? Oh, I got it right. Okay. So for manifesting, so like once I've manifested the thing, I think that like, once you've manifested the thing and a few things can happen. I was talking to a client about that today. We can manifest all sorts of things, even if they're not meant for us. So that's an important thing to know, that like my work is really about making sure that we are on path, that we are connected to our soul, that the soul is driving this lifetime, because ego can drive this lifetime. We can manifest things that are outside of our path. And because we at the end of the day live in a world that is guided by certain laws, like law of the attraction, law of manifestation. So once we manifest that thing, and if it doesn't feel right, it's because it's not really part of our path. There shouldn't be any guilt about that. There should just be like, oh, okay, like if I keep manifesting these things and I don't feel great about them, perhaps I should start surrendering to my path rather than using my will to make everything happen. Like perhaps what's going to really satisfy me and fulfill me is to actually surrender to what is God's will for me, what is truly my path, and really bowing down and surrendering to that. And then once we start to hear what that stuff is, like according to our path, that's when manifesting gets so much sweeter, because then we start to manifest the things that are on our path, and then we develop this momentum and life feels really good. So that's number one. Then the second thing is that like if we manifest something and we are proud of it, I think we always have to like file folder that and be like, remember that time that I manifested that like car? Every time that I'm trying to manifest again, like I want to bring my mind back to the things that I've already manifested that really went really well. And I want to remind myself that I am a creator and that I am a manifester and that I'm really good at it. So if I could manifest that dress, I can definitely manifest like this relationship, and even just look at like what I did to manifest that dress and bring it into like other categories of my life. And then of course, like just like constantly gratitude at looking at the things that we have and just being thankful for them, but also giving ourselves credit for bringing it into our lives. Okay. All right. What else about past lives, guys? So past lives always also brings up the topic of soulmates. one thing that's important to know is that usually when we talk about soulmates, people think that those are like romantic relationships. You're welcome, Nikki. We think that those are like just romantic relationships, but soulmates are souls that we have lived other lifetimes with, and that so like your mother, your best friend, your boss who you hate, they can all be soulmates. Things that people that we have lived other lifetimes with, and that we're here like completing karma for. Another thing about having past lives with these people is that sometimes when we meet a soulmate, especially a romantic one, we tend to think that we're supposed to be with that person forever. And because it's like, I know this person, I feel connected to this person, like I've seen this person before, but the truth is typically that person is either a soul that's launching us into like what truly is our path, and launching may look like a nice thing, but it also may look like a shitty thing. Like I break your heart and I make you feel really shitty about yourself, and that's how you learn that you are strong and that you're deserving of more, and that pushes you into the right direction. Or sometimes it's a soul that's coming to complete a karma. Like at the end of the day, to complete our healing, you know, I may have to tell this person like, I'm not going to put up with that anymore. Or I have to care for this person because in the lifetime before we did this other thing. So there's like so in addition to just our own past lives, we have to understand that our past lives are playing out in our current lives through different relationships, and that there is a lot of healing and karma that is being completed between us. Oh my God, you just described my exact situation. Yeah, because it's super common. It's very basic. So I don't want to flash you guys. Joanna, are twin flames different from soulmates, and do we all have them? So twin flames are different from soulmates. I feel like that word is tossed around even more than soulmates, twin flames. It's very, very rare. I have, in all the years that I've done readings, I think I've seen like 1 or 2 twin flames. And twin flames are basically the concept that it's very rare that one soul has split into 2 in this one lifetime to experience itself from like 2 different angles. So when we come into this, and Joanna, since you read Journey of Souls, I think they talk about this in Journey of Souls. When we come into this lifetime as a soul in this human body, we don't take all our energy. Like if our energy is 100%, we might take like 60% or 70% or something into this lifetime, and that other percentage will be doing something else in like other realms, basically. But a twin flame basically like splits that energy and does like a 50-50, and it basically makes 2 humans, and these twin flames typically come together in a romantic pair, and it's like this beautiful, I've actually seen 2 twin flames before, and they kind of like reflect each other and their life purposes, and they usually like meet very, very young. Is the 2 twin flames that I've seen, they've met very, very young, and they've been together for a very long time. So that's my experience in twin flames. Can you talk a little bit more about completing karma with a soulmate from a past life? How can someone be completing karmic loop without our knowledge or understanding? So I think karma means, Emily, a lot to different people. So basically, I think I have to give you an example in order to explain that. So I had this client that it was a romantic relationship, and her ex basically came into her life in this lifetime to basically allow her to helped her crack open her heart in a sense. Very hard relationship, because when somebody cracks open your heart, you typically think you're supposed to be with that person. And but that was he owed her that from a time before, and it was a little bit almost like kind of a sacrifice for him to do that for her, even though he wasn't a lot, he wasn't going to end up with her or reap the benefits of that cracking open. But that was what was owed to her. That was in their contract. And that's like the agreement that they had. So to me, the way that I'm saying karma is more like these agreements that we like need to make good on in this lifetime. My yes, everyone throws up. I know, it really annoys me because there's like a reason for that name. Also, soulmate. It's like there's a reason for soulmates. There's a reason for that name. It means something in particular. So we can't just like be throwing it around. So yeah, so I mean, I think a lot of people will say like, oh, the lesson, this relationship like taught me this, blah, blah, blah. My middle son and I have a karma completion that we're working on. He shows up in like so many of my past lives. I'm always, and he's so sticky. In Spanish, we would say that he's pegajoso, like he's just so sticky. And to me, like he's just like glue on me. And every time he always tells me, like since he was little, he would be like, I hope that next time I come back inside your belly again and that like you're my mommy again. I'm like, dude, we've done this a lot of times, okay? Like we're gonna complete the karma loop this time. We are not gonna do this again. I'm gonna come back in your belly, you asshole, so that you can take care of me. So, but like that's only something I know because I've done a lot of regressions. Okay, what do you feel when you meet your soulmate? Does it shake you? Do you feel at peace? You have a gut feeling? Okay, so different soulmates bring up different things. Some soulmates are like, oh my gosh, like I know you, like, and it's just, so I had this relationship when I was much younger, that was a soulmate, and he kind of came in to like sacrifice himself too and helped me along my path in a certain way. Because we didn't end up romantically together, we couldn't stay friends, so I like lost that soulmate basically in this lifetime, and we were able to reconnect a couple of years ago through work, and I was like, I just felt like, oh my gosh, like it's my person, like my soulmate again, like it was like my friend, like my little friend from my little soul pod, because basically souls exist in little pods up in the spirit world, like we're like little classrooms together, basically like classmates. And but it wasn't like our relationship this lifetime wasn't enjoyable, but knowing him and like knowing that he's in my life, or at least I have like some access to him, is very peaceful. And then there are some so usually I would say that it's a feeling of, I know this person, I have done this before, I know you, and it might not, what we've done before might not be fun. So it doesn't mean that it's going to feel good, but it's a knowing. It's like I recognize you. I recognize you. Like you look familiar to me is what it's like. Can you have known an animal? Yes, absolutely, Sarah. I am not like animal communicator. I can do it, but it's like not my thing. But one of my teachers is like, and actually she'll be with us on Wednesday at 7:30 EST. I'm doing an IG live with her, and she's an animal communicator, and all we're going to talk about is communicating with your animals and your past animals. I mean, it's going to be super, super fun. And yes, like, so I didn't always believe in that, but if you've ever had an animal that you're like, I know you, like we've done this before, souls can come as animals. So like you could have been a person in a lifetime and then decided to become a dog this lifetime, according to her. And I haven't seen that yet. Like I don't focus on that, so that's probably why I haven't seen it. But I've had animals my whole life, and I've seen people with animals that their relationships are just so close, so yes, for sure, our animals are our soulmates. Nikki, your book has so many gems. It was a new experience and a new way of thinking. I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you. It made me think of being a more active participant in the things I want in my life. Yes, it's a co-creation. So what we want in our life, just because it is in our path or it's our destiny, doesn't mean it just happens. We have to co-create. So we need to walk the path. The path is there, but if we just like are standing there like waiting for it to come to us, then no. So we need to have a balance, and it's always a co-creation. Me and the universe, we're doing this together to live into my destiny. Daniela, souls make contracts with each other before being born into this life. Can you share more about that? Yes. I love that. And if you're interested about souls making contracts, I recommend it too. I should probably like make $1 off of every book that I sell. Journey of Souls talks about this towards the end of the book, which I find like super fascinating. So yeah, like, you know, we come together and we're like, because basically we, again, exist in these little soul pods, is what I call them. And these soul pods are like our classmates. Like imagine you're in kindergarten and you have, you know, 20 kids in your group or whatever. And then there's, you know, but you even though you're in kindergarten, you may know the kid in first grade. So sometimes we like cross with their pods for sure. So that's why we have like an abundance of soulmates. And it doesn't mean that we're all going to come together. And the contracts that we make are basically like, you know, my mom and I are going to come this lifetime, and my mom's like, I'm going to be an asshole and you're going to grow so much because I'm an asshole, right? But you need that because we need you to propel so that you can teach this thing, and you only learned this thing because I was an asshole, you know? Or those kids, those people that like, you know, some of us who get pregnant not expecting it, and that child changed our lives. And like that soul, even though it looks like a younger soul because the human is younger, that soul may be a very wise older soul and is like, 911, this lady is fucking up her life. I'm gonna come in and I'm going to, sorry, one of my tools just moved. And I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna do what we said we were gonna do. So I'm gonna help her get, because we work together as souls to make sure that we each live into that purpose, that soul's purpose, and we collaborate in order for all of us to live into those purposes. Thank you. I'll be there. Cat on my lap as we speak. Oh, Sarah, yes, I love it. Any tips for getting deeper into your meditative state when trying to access past life details? Yes. So when you're doing journeys, you guys, which again we do in Soul Leader, would love for you to join. When you're doing journey meditations, which are these guided meditations that you're leaving your body and you're going into these different places to access this information. It requires definitely a state of focus, and that requires practice. First of all, it just requires some time. You know, it's a muscle, so we have to like practice it. But then also you have to remember that practice comes from the third eye, which is the energy center between our two eyes. It's the purple one. It's the psychic center. And what is between our third eye working well is our brain. The third eye sits in front of the brain. And the same thing with the crown chakra, which is our spiritual, intuition. So these two chakras are at the mercy of our brain. So I would say, like, we have to practice softening our brain. We have to be okay. And I think, to me, the best way to soften the brain is to bring in curiosity, is to be curious. The reason I feel like I can do this work is because I'm so, I'm the girl that will sit and watch a show about UFOs and be fascinated. I'm just fascinated, right? I'm curious. I'm wowed. It's this kind of I'm not like that in all parts of my life, just specifically this stuff. But that's what makes my brain soft and allows anything to come in, because I have no expectations. I'm open to it. I'm still to this day so fascinated. I'll come back to my readings and I'll be like, I found this thing that was just so interesting. And usually a person's not interested because it's something really bad. But I just find it fascinating. So when you're in that meditative state, go in with no expectations and just be like, this is so fun. Let's see what happens. Let's just see what happens today. And if nothing happens, promise yourself you're not going to be disappointed, right? Because you're just gonna keep coming back. So experience it all with curiosity. And then also when you're there, and if you notice that you're getting tired or something, it's because you're learning to focus. So always bringing your attention back to whatever it is that the guided meditation is, bringing you down. Okay? Co-creation ties into staying in high vibration. Co-creation is tied with trust. Co-creation is I believe there's a plan for me. I believe there's a destiny for me, and I totally trust that destiny. Why am I going to argue with my soul? Like my higher self knows more than my human self, and if she created some sort of path for me, like I'm not going to fight it. So I trust the path, and I'm open to whatever the path is. So that's co-creation is more from that place. Any tips for exploring our past life relationship with our parents? Yes. So I mean, let's talk about aliens. Do they exist? For sure, they exist. How I always say like how conceited of us to think that we are like we live in this. I mean, just close your eyes for a second. Like Earth is just one thing in this huge blackness that never ends. So like, how could we think that we're the only thing that exists? It makes no sense to me. Like even just from my intelligence, that doesn't make any sense. So yes, definitely. And I think we're gonna hear more and more about aliens as the years go. As like we're gonna get somewhere. They're already doing it. It's already happening. So, okay, parents. I think past life regressions with parents are very important. Sorry guys, did I flash you? You can start if you already have a relationship with your spirit guide, which you guys know that I'm always like advocating for. I hope you do. If you don't, soul seeker, soul leader, we do all that stuff. If you have one, just sit in meditation, call your spirit guide. You usually meet your spirit guide in a place of nature. So you close your eyes, you vision a place of nature, you call in your spirit guide, and ask your spirit guide to journey you into a past life that will give you some information with your mother. So let them journey you, and like you're just kind of watching a movie screen. You're just kind of watching. It's kind of, I'm sure it's happened to you guys when you have a dream that you're in the dream and somebody's in the dream and they look totally different. You know, like you can tell it's your mother, but for some reason she's a man and she looks like this. But you can tell that her essence is her. That's a past life dream. That's because you recognize the essence, you recognize the soul, but the human looks very different. So our guides will also show us in our dream if it's not coming to our, like if we're not doing it during the day and we're asking for it and it's important, it'll start to happen at night. It'll start to happen in the dreams. Has anybody had that experience before? Oh, Maya, that's so funny. The New York Times said that there's potential life on Venus, like literally today. I mean, yeah, I mean, you know, I was laughing. Was it, guys, help me out here. What is the Tesla guy who like has his private, that has the private like space missions now? What are they called again? I'm having a blank. That they're in here in Florida. Anyways, I think it was I think we were in the middle of like hardcore quarantine or Black Lives Matter, like just when things were like really getting heated, and they were like sending off a ship and we were all like not paying attention. I'm like, look at these fuckers. They're building their buildings on like different planets and we're all here like quarantine. Elon Musk, thank you. Thank you guys. Yes, Elon Musk. Okay, after you die, how long till you come back into a new life? That's a good question. I don't have the answer for that, but I do, because some of my clients ask me to connect to their past loved ones, I can see that there's like a gap between actually connecting with them. So I think that past lives take a while because I've never seen people with like, usually when we do past lives, like I never seen them like super, super close, but I really don't have the answer for that. But I've personally never seen them very, very close. Like if I just died and this person like had a lifetime, I don't know, in the 1960s, like, I don't know, or like a few years before I came in. I haven't seen that yet, but I mean, I would discard it. But one thing I do see is that there's a little bit of a, when a person passes and you want to connect with them, and you want to like connect to your past loved one, I do see that takes a little bit of time. Now that there's time, time is very different in the spirit world, but they do these things called like, they're basically like cleansing the soul, and sometimes that takes a little longer than others. So you can't always connect to a past loved one right away. So that I can answer, but I don't know how long. I don't have like an exact answer for that, but I think about that too. Kabali. Yeah, I've had that type of dream. Yeah. So that's a past life dream. So if you guys are having those and you're like, man, I know this person, but it looks different. Like I know this essence. Just see if the next morning if you can write it down and then you want to like interpret it. Like if it was a metaphor, you know, if this was a metaphor, if this was, you know, if this was a kindergarten teacher trying to teach a story, a parable to their kindergartners, like what would this dream mean? Yes, SpaceX. Thank you guys. True or false? Elon Musk is Thomas Edison reincarnated. I don't know. I'm not going to answer that, but that would be pretty awesome. We should just like make movies about this. It'd just be fun to watch, right? Like why hasn't anybody made like a fun like reincarnation movie? I love it. All right, guys. This is so fun. Like I said, I'll be every day because we're doing we are Soul Leader, which is my program where we connect the spirit guide. It's very active. We're like connecting to spirit guides. We're doing past lives. We are journeying, all the like cool stuff. But you're actually doing it yourself. Like I'm actually taking you there. For all this month we have like different bonuses. So if you buy the program this month, you get a free healing. So and I'm talking about it for every night for the whole month, just because I like talking about this like woo-woo stuff, but also because we have Soul Leader as a special. So yeah, but I had so much fun with you guys. Tomorrow I think we're talking about spirit guides. Wednesday we're bringing on an expert animal communicator, which I'm excited about, and then I forgot we're doing Thursday, but on my stories it'll say. And if you guys, again, if you're interested in Soul Leader, it is in my the link in my profile. So if you're feeling called to this, you guys, like just jump in. And I'm there to support you. I'm super nerdy about this stuff. And those of you who are in Soul Seeker or in Soul Leader, like how hands-on I am. So I love being here with you guys. All right. Thank you. And I'll have this, if you want to share any of our weirdo conversation with your friends, it'll be in my IG TV. So thanks, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.